You're watching the Red Weatherman YouTube channel. We are tracking the first U.S. landfalling storm of the 2025 hurricane season. Stay tuned for all the details, including how it will impact your 4th of July. All right, folks, we are live. I'm sorry, I apologize. I did not realize. Apparently, the stream did not connect the first time. So here we are once again. I'm going to try this again. Hopefully, everyone is seeing this. So here we are, we're live on this Independence Day, and happy Independence Day to all. And for those of you who are our international viewers, if you're a little bit confused as to what Independence Day is, today is the day we celebrate our 249th birthday as a nation here in the United States of America. All that aside, this is what we got going on spinning out there in the Atlantic, just off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida. We have Tropical Depression 3, which from the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center at 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour, pressure at 1,012 millibars, and is currently just sitting there over the Atlantic Basin. Okay, is stationary, is not moving. And so that's the latest on the storm. Now it is going to start to move, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, so anyways, here's our synoptic setup that we have for Saturday, and this is what's going to be steering the storm towards the coastline. Okay, so we've got our high pressure system out there near Bermuda, and it's of course spinning clockwise, and that's going to be drawing the storm to the north. We also have this cold front that is starting to stall out, but nonetheless it is there and is currently a cold front, so we're going to notate it as such. But nonetheless, a front there, and that's also going to be steering the storm to the north. And so this is what we're going to be looking at. We're going to start to see the storm slowly get going here and eventually make its way onshore. This would be late tomorrow night or early Sunday morning, and we're going to see it come onshore probably somewhere between Wilmington and Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And as it does so, it's going to be colliding with that front. And as it does so, it's going to start to become post-tropical and extratropical, and also is going to be dumping a tremendous amount of rain. And I don't think that has necessarily been emphasized enough by the National Hurricane Center, but as that storm, as those rain bands feed in off the coastline, okay, and start to hit that front, and that front causes even more lift with those bands, you are going to see torrential rains and flash flooding become a major problem with the storm. Okay, that's going to be a major problem, especially on the northern and northwestern side of the storm's track. All right, so here is the track that the National Hurricane Center has just put out. Okay, so expected to become a named storm early tomorrow morning, and as it does so, it's also going to be strengthening further until it crashes into the coastline there with South Carolina. And as it does so, we also have a tropical storm watch up for most of the coastline in yellow, and that will likely be upgraded to a warning as we get closer in time. Now, I do think this track may be pushing it just a little bit too far to the south, as opposed to what will actually occur due to the front in that high pressure system drawing it further north. Continuing on, these are the current wind speed probabilities, looking at a 30 to 40% chance for much of the South Carolina coastline of seeing tropical storm force winds. I do expect that chance to go up, and I think whatever locations are nearest to the circulation will definitely see, at the bare minimum, tropical storm force wind gusts. And then the arrival time for those tropical storm force winds, looking at earliest reasonable, looking at about 8 p.m. tomorrow night. And then if you take the most likely assessment, probably more like the late evening / overnight hours. So really most of the day tomorrow you have to make those preparations ahead of the storm, whatever those are. If those are filling sandbags, if those are perhaps securing a mobile home a little bit better to deal with some of those stronger wind gusts, whatever the case may be, okay? But just know that things will quickly go downhill tomorrow evening, and we will start to see rain bands come on shore in the afternoon hours. And so this is also, I just want to show, this is also what we've got going on just with the storm itself. I'm going to pull this up really quick. And so here's the latest infrared image of the storm. Not a whole lot of organization, but that's typical with a tropical depression. You do, however, start to see these thunderstorms blowing up on satellite, sort of near and just south of where the center likely is. Okay, so the storm starting to get its act together and getting ready to strengthen. And with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pull up, I accidentally closed this earlier, so I'm going to pull up the sea surface temperature map from NOAA just to show you the potential that we have for this storm to strengthen. So let's see here. Where's the Atlantic one? Here we go. Okay, so here's the Atlantic, and we see associated with the Gulf Stream there, we've got very warm waters off the coast of the Carolinas, and if Tropical Depression 3 is able to properly tap into that while also dodging the wind shear associated with the front, it will be able to strengthen tomorrow, and perhaps very quickly. It could even exceed the current expectations from the National Hurricane Center, which are currently a 45 mile per hour maximum sustained wind storm, and that would be close to its landfall time tomorrow. With that being said, I also want to take a look at just some recent observations. Let's see if 3Z has come in yet. Not yet. Okay, that's okay. So here we have our storm down here, and we can already see the onshore flow over parts of South Carolina, even southeastern North Carolina. But places like Myrtle Beach and going up towards Wrightsville Beach and Wilmington, you see that easterly flow onshore from the storm. Okay, already starting to see that influence from Tropical Depression 3, and that is only going to continue to have impacts in the area. Currently not dealing with any precipitation. Okay, those outer bands have not quite made it on shore yet, but that is going to change as we go through the day tomorrow, and I'm going to show you how that's going to play out. So here's the H-Wharf model. I'm going to rewind it. So this is 21Z, and I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. This is approximately where we are now. Okay, not the best initial conditions on this. It has the storm at 1,005, when in reality right now it's sitting at 1,012. So has a little bit stronger than it actually is on the model. But that being said, you see the very lopsided storm. Now it does start to get its act together as we go forward in time tomorrow. You see these bands come on shore, and this is 3Z Sunday morning, so this would be 11 p.m., so exactly 24 hours almost from this point. Here's a storm just offshore. It's coming ashore there. It's fixing to come ashore there near Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and pushing some water ashore perhaps. Could see some minor coastal flooding associated with the storm, as well as dumping a tremendous amount of rain over parts of eastern North Carolina as well as northeastern South Carolina. And again, that front is only going to help enhance that and create more problems in these areas. And with that being said, from there, the storm makes landfall Sunday morning and continues to move inland, and you start to see it fall apart. I want to emphasize, you see most of the convection, most of it's off the domain even here. But really, a lot of dry air has now wrapped in, at least according to the model, at this point, and that is due to the interaction with that front and it becoming an extratropical cyclone. So tomorrow, and really as we go through Sunday, as the storm starts to move inland, you may see some cases southwest of the circulation itself where the winds are fairly gusty, but not seeing a whole lot of rain. The sun may even be shining. Okay, it may just be sunny and a little bit breezy out there, especially at the beaches. But with that being said, the circulation's still there, and don't let that fool you. Still want to use caution in the water, and I'm going to very quickly go back to the National Hurricane Center's website to show you the rip current risk associated with this storm. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. We have a moderate risk all the way from around Vero Beach, Florida, all the way running up the coastline to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, with most of South Carolina in that high risk category. So be very, very, very careful if you decide to go in the water either tomorrow or Sunday. And I can actually I'll pull up tomorrow. So yeah, tomorrow it even shifts farther north, where you start to see places like Myrtle Beach now under the gun in that high risk, as well as going up towards the Outer Banks and Morehead City and Beaufort, North Carolina. Start to see the shift, start to see the threat shift up there as well. Now, with that being said, so that's the H-Wharf model. I want to take now a little bit of I want to take a quick look at the HRRR. So here's the storm. Okay, you see it, and going back. So this is, let's see, this is 9Z on Saturday, so that would be 5 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So the sun just barely beginning to come up. You already start to see some showers starting to make their way on shore there from Myrtle Beach down up through Wilmington, and even coming on shore in places like Morehead City too. And that's going to continue throughout the day. And then you'll see a little bit of a break, more than likely, going through the afternoon and perhaps even early evening hours. The sun may even come out for a little bit. But again, don't let that fool you. The storm is still on its way, and you will start to see more and more bands come through. And eventually, the real part of the storm, okay, the real mess starts to come on shore as we go through the overnight hours tomorrow night. And that's where you see the tropical storm force winds come on shore, the wind gusts well in excess of 40 to 50 miles per hour, potentially in places like Myrtle Beach and places like Wilmington, as well as very, very dangerous flooding potential, okay? We are going to see, even not just at the coastline, but also inland in places like Florence, South Carolina, Columbia, Fayetteville, North Carolina, even the Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill metroplex. You're going to see significant impacts from the storm even well inland of the coastline, and perhaps slightly inland of the coastline could see worse rainfall totals, higher rainfall totals than even places along the coastline, depending on how everything shapes out with the dynamics of the lift caused by the front and its the interaction there. But that being said, again, same story, where you see all this dry air already starting to wrap into the circulation ahead of that cold front. And that's going to be a very prominent feature with this thing, the lopsided nature of it. But again, in a place like, let's just say Savannah, Georgia, okay, the sun may be shining there, but nonetheless the circulation is still present, and those waters are really going to be rough out there, okay? And you really have got to be extra cautious. You know, even if the sun is shining, that does not mean the rip current risk has gone away, and in fact it is more prominent than ever perhaps at those times. So with that being said, the storm continues to move inland and quickly falls apart as it does so, and it moves inland later in the day on Sunday and even going into Monday as well. And like I said, you really start to see it fall apart. Now, I want to also pull up the 3-kilometer NAM, because the initial conditions, I think, are just a little bit better on this one. It actually takes the storm a little more in line with where the National Hurricane Center has it, making landfall somewhere near Charleston, South Carolina, okay? But of course, those rain bands still spinning around, and we will see large scale impacts, not just near where the storm makes landfall, but also well away from the storm. Probably going to see, impacts as far north as the Outer Banks. Everything from flooding from just the rain, as well as coastal flooding from overwash from the ocean, okay? All that sort of stuff. So don't get fixated on where exactly that track is. Remember, one, the track can change drastically tomorrow on this storm, okay? And two, the impacts will be spread well away from the center. So do keep that in mind. And again, same story as we go through later in the day on Sunday and into Monday, you do start to see the storm fall apart. With that being said, that's pretty much all I have for this stream. If you enjoyed it, if you found it informative, please like the stream down below, subscribe, share the stream. Also, don't forget to check out all the links down in the description of the video. My Patriot Supply is actually running a 4th of July sale still on emergency food kits, emergency supplies, so stock up on those if you really want to support the channel as well. You can utilize the link down in the description. And of course, with that being said, I think that sale runs out on July 8th, so you got 4 days left. Definitely take advantage of it, because more storms like this and worse storms like this will, or worse storms than this, I should say, will likely be spinning up as we go through the peak of hurricane season. So you definitely want to make sure you're prepared. And we've also seen several other very significant weather events this year. So definitely get everything you want. You want to have a supply, emergency supply, and that's a great way to do it. You can also utilize the other links as well. Go shopping and also support the channel while you're doing that. With all that being said, everyone, happy Independence Day once again, and be safe out there.